Hello and welcome to the Female Founder Friday podcast with me, Lindsay White. I'm passionate about helping female entrepreneurs be great leaders, build high-performing teams, and create inspiring workplace cultures through innovative talent programs and practices. Because when people feel like they belong at work, they deliver their very best and businesses thrive. The Female Founder Friday podcast is all about connecting with the most incredible female entrepreneurs to talk about their journey to creating their own business, the mistakes they've made along the way, and how they view their own leadership. And I'm challenging all of my guests this season to take my leadership style quiz. And during each episode, we'll be digging into their leadership style and how it impacts the way they lead in their life and their business. And if you're interested in learning more about your leadership style and want some of my top tips to help you lead more effectively, you can take the quiz right now. Just check out the show notes or head over to highvoltageleadership.ca and click on the button at the top of the page that says Take the Quiz. Then you can share your results, connect with my guests, and join the conversation on Instagram by following me at highvoltleadership. Well, welcome, Jade, to the Female Founder Friday podcast. I am so glad to have you here. This has been like years in the making.
It has. I'm super excited and honored to be here, and it was well worth the wait.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I love it. So full disclosure, Jade and I have been in business together for, I don't know, a couple of years now, hey?
Yeah, it's been a while.
So
Crazy how fast it goes.
I know, right? So Jade started out as my virtual assistant, and now she has built a thriving business. And we were just talking sort of before I hit record. We don't even actually get to talk to each other much anymore, even though we've been in business together for a couple of years. So I was really excited when we could finally get our calendars connected and have Jade on the show, because she's a female founder who not only has built a beautiful business, but it's changed her life. And I think there's a beautiful story here, and I'm sure I only know pieces of it. So I'm excited for you to tell us about your journey today.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to share, because I'm just an average Jill person. So anybody can do this.
Yeah, 100%. Tell us about Jade's virtual office and the journey.
Oh goodness, I started my company in the middle of COVID. So I gave birth to my youngest daughter in January, and the entire world shut down by March. And so all I had was time, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Time alone. So we were on lots of walks and things, and I heard there's a book called How to Ikigai by Tim Tamashiro.
Yeah.
He's here in Alberta, Canada, and brilliant man. And the book just really talks about how we have it backwards in North America. In Japan and things, they focus on what brings you joy, what are you good at, and what serves people. And then you find what you can do that makes money within those things. Whereas here we make money and then we do those things. Then we hope that we find room for joy, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and it just like clicks, Lindsay. I didn't love my career. It was very unethical place to be. And I was like, what am I doing, right? So I started working with my life coach at the time and figured out exactly that. What brings me joy? What am I good at? How can I serve? And I am good at being creative. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at connecting people. So my business was born.
Love it.
That's how JVO started. And we grew from a VA to a full marketing agency. And now I actually offer coaching to help coaches like yourself to grow specifically on LinkedIn and master getting clients in a simple way. My company is all about, if we can keep it simple, that's how we're going to do it.
And that's why I love working with you. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I love it. The KISS principle. I love that. And I know your business has grown, and you've had, your personal journey during this time has had its ups and downs, and it's remarkable. It's remarkable how you have fit that all together. And I think that's inspiring for all of us as female founders.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think, self-development and entrepreneurship just go hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
And, anytime you have a goal for your company to grow, whether that's financial or a team or services, it doesn't matter. However you want it to grow, you have to look at what you need to grow first. You need to grow into the person that can handle that growth, which I did backwards for a little while. That was a learning curve.
Yeah.
Trying to grow the company without growing myself first. Just it doesn't work. It wasn't working.
No, you know what? And I don't know, I'm not going to take credit for this phrase, and I can't tell you who created it, but the idea that as an entrepreneur, every day is a school day. right? You get up in the morning every day when you own your own business, when you're an entrepreneur, especially when you're first starting out in the first few years. Every single day you learn something, multiple times a day. Usually the learning curve is steep. Like it's pretty much straight up at some points, but
Yes,
there's
agreed.
always an opportunity to learn. And I think you make an excellent point that if you're not consistently learning and growing as an individual, how can you possibly endeavor to lead a rapidly growing business and team?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
I will
love
stand
that.
by that statement for the rest of my life.
I love that. I love that. Well, I mean, because you're offering us a valuable lesson. That's a lesson that I try and preach regularly, right? You got to do your own work in order to show up effectively, to lead your business, to build the culture where people feel empowered to do really great work. It starts from inside.
Absolutely. Yeah. The
Yeah.
stronger and healthier you are on the inside, the stronger and healthier your company will be. And then you get like abundance and growth, and then you're more healthier because you're getting so much success, and it continues in that cycle.
Yeah, 100%. And there's so many things I want to say in response to that. I can't even pick one to start with. I think one of the things, and you tell me, because you work with coaches like me, but I see this all the time, this message about scale your business, scale to 6 figures, you got to have 10K months, scale to 6 figures, then you got to scale to 7, scale. And what I have found in my travels, and you tell me if this is true for you, is that female founders get in that scale cycle, but so they scale their business, but they haven't scaled their mindset, they haven't scaled their leadership, they're not ready to be the CEO of a 7-figure business. They don't know what that looks like. And that leads to burnout. And I've absolutely had that conversation with female business owners where they come to me and they're like, I'm ready to burn the goddamn thing down because I can't take it anymore. And my kids hate me, and my husband wants to divorce, or my partner wants to leave me, and like I'm done. Right? Is this something you see from your perspective?
Absolutely. That's exactly what happened. In less than 18 months, probably 15 or so months, I was a 6-figure company, and I had expanded my team. I think at one point I had 8 different team members. Very, very quick growth. And I don't regret that growth. I mean, it was super exciting. I mean, you came in during that growth and all those things, but I absolutely did hit burnout.
Yeah.
And it's been extremely difficult to get out of that burnout, like once you hit it.
Yeah.
So I actually scaled back, and I'm rescaling and growing now again in a much more empowered, healthy way. 10K months sounds really great, and it can be. I'm still making 10K months.
Yeah.
But there's 2 different ways to make a 10K month, right?
Yeah.
There's like hustle, work hard, try and be everywhere, do all the things.
Yes.
And then there's making 10K months where you're coming from a really empowered, strong position, and you're excited to be there, and you're doing things in just a really aligned, healthy way. And that's where my motto of simple comes in, Lindsay, is because I've done it both ways. I've got 10K months in a simple, aligned, straightforward way, and I've also done it where I'm just trying to scale as fast as possible. And doing it in the aligned, simple way is the best.
100%. And it is, I think your point about the burnout can be hard to get out of. Like once you're in that full burnout mode, that the recovery from that is lengthy.
It's very lengthy, and I think as an entrepreneur, it's really hard to separate your business's success from your own feelings of self-worth and things, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm alone in that.
No.
So when I hit burnout and had to scale down, I absolutely did lose some clients, or had packages go smaller. That's a reality of that that's what happened. And it's hard to feel like I can still be successful, or that I'm not a failure. Like, my own self-worth has not gone down because I had to go through that experience.
You and I have had this conversation.
Yeah. Right? Right. And so it's just one of those, one of those things. But when you're able to separate your entrepreneurial journey from your self-worth, and then grow your own health and then come back to your company in an empowered way. It's like, hey, you know what? The amount of clients that did stick around and the new ones that are coming, it's so worth the journey to keep going.
Yeah.
But that's a key point, I would say. Anyone listening to this podcast, like, you're a female founder, like, you got to separate your personal worth and success from what happened as an entrepreneur, because that'll lead to burnout too, the perfectionism, trying to fix the problems and do everything. It's not sustainable for you.
No, I think, you know, we all do lessons again at the end, but I think that that's a beautiful thing for people to walk away with listening to this episode, is that if you're at a place right now where you can't separate your own personal self-worth from the value and success in your company, then it is time to step back, because that's a pretty good indication that you are on the path to burnout. Like, from my perspective, that's a time to do a deep check-in on, wait a second, right? Like, I need what's important to me. And if success in your business is the only thing that comes to mind, it's time to do some work.
Agreed. Well, and another thing, like, you know, being a woman, we are focused on results and emotions and impact a lot more than we focus on the numbers. It's more natural for us to do that. But I actually, you know, in my program, I really try and blend that feminine energy with the masculine need to look at numbers. So that would be another key point to it. It just go back to the numbers, right? I don't know how many times coaches message me, oh, I didn't get this call, or I didn't convert this sale, or, you know, very stressed about that. And it's like, well, what are the numbers, right? Like, how many times have you asked a person for a call? How many times have you done this, right? And lots of times it turns out not a lot. We're basing our success off that one person saying no, or that one post not doing well. And that tells me you're in an emotional space, right? When you look at the numbers, right? It takes X amount of, you know, asking for the call to get a call. It takes, you know, so just go back to those numbers all the time. What are the actual, what is the data showing? Not what your emotions say. What is the data saying?
No, you know what? I think that's really important. I mean, if we really want to be intelligent and informed business owners, the numbers are always important, whether they're financial metrics, whether they're social metrics, connection, whatever. You're right. I mean, we have to focus on those things. Those are important indicators in our businesses, the KPIs, if you will. I think you brought that in, that we also have to energetically manage things. And we have to recognize and be able to manage that internal conversation. Why is the focus on the negative? Why is that one post not performing well, causing us to go into a bit of that spiral, that moment that we just, we really circle the drain, if you will, in terms of, nobody wants to engage with me, I'm never going to be successful, blah, blah, blah. I've been there. I've absolutely 110% been there. It's hard not to get there. But I love the way you talk about how you have to manage both. You have to manage both, because ultimately that's an inside game, right? You have to be able to lead yourself in order to be able to lead your business effectively, whatever you want to grow with it. And for goodness sake, do not listen to those people that continue to tell you that you have to have a 6-figure business. There is no rule. There is no place written down where you have to make $10K a month to be successful. Success is how you measure it. And it's not just about money. I just need to make that
Agree. There's so many different factors besides just cash.
Right.
But also, I mean, this is me getting spicy. I can be a spicy person.
You be spicy.
The 6-figure people that are saying these things, I mean, I am a 6-figure business owner. There's nothing wrong with that either. But I want to know how much of that income you're bringing home, right? Because there's different ways to be a 6-figure business. You know what I mean? I mean, you can have high-ticket, really well-done services where most of that income comes home, or you can be scrambling to be successful and paying out the yin-yang and losing track of your clients and all those things, and then coming out, oh, I'm a big 6-figure, I've met success. And it's not your heart. First of all, you're not actually bringing in the 6 figures. So that's a hidden fact. And second of all, if your emotions are struggling, you're hitting burnout, all those things. It's not even success in my eyes.
Totally.
So pay attention to that stuff too.
We did an episode not that long ago with my friend and colleague, 𝐉𝐚𝐿 �McMahon, and she's a coach as well. And she talked about exactly about that. She won like some kind of award for her like she hit the $1 million mark, and you get an award for that. I don't know. Anyways, and she was like, you know what? It was total BS. It was complete bullshit. So I had 7 figures in top line revenue, but I was not making that level of income. That was not what landed in my bank account. And I was killing myself. I was burnt out. I was stressed out. I was hustling for every nickel. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about, is that it's not easy to be in that space. And it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And it's really a false narrative, I guess, is the way I would put it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, there's nothing wrong with if you want to be a six-figure earner. I want to be, made that be clear too. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a six-figure earner. And
No!
there's nothing
Oh,
wrong with
heavens,
being,
no.
having a small business either. It's really what is in alignment with you and what feels good for you.
That is thank you for saying that. Do you.
Yes.
Not what everybody else says you should do. And if you hear a bunch of shoulds, that's time to really rethink where your head's at. What I want to do now, Jade has taken my leadership style quiz. So we're going to find out what kind of leader she is. I think I have an idea, but I'm interested to see. If you want to take the leadership style quiz, you can do that right now. It only takes a couple minutes. It's fun, it's interesting, you'll learn something, and I'm going to send you some of my top leadership tips so you can be a more effective leader, right today. There's a link in the show notes. There's a button on the webpage, highvoltageleadership.ca. Click on the little orange button. It says take the quiz now. And you can go do it right now and compare with Jade's style. So Jade, tell us, what kind of leader are you?
I got the supportive leader.
That doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me either.
No.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you?
As a supportive leader, for me, it's collaboration is probably the biggest reason why I believe I got that answer on the quiz, which the quiz was super fun, by the way. I really enjoyed it. For me, I see my team as equals with me. I don't see myself as a boss that's hiring everybody out and telling them what to do. And so, when I hit burnout, that was actually one of the biggest things I learned is having to feel like I have to be this leader at the top that looks perfect, sounds perfect, and pull it all together. That's actually what cost me a lot of my team and my business in general. And so I've learned since that, being an open, honest leader and saying, hey guys, this, deadline's coming up, I'm behind, I'm struggling a bit, what can we all do together, is actually the best way to lead, because then they come forward. It's like the ideas they have and the skills they have are just brilliant. And so that's one of my favorite parts about being a supportive leader.
Okay, so first of all, let me say that is kind of shitty that you had to go through that space of burnout and all that comes with that in order to learn that really valuable lesson. That's too bad. But I love the gift, if nothing else, that you got out of that tricky time was that no, being a great leader doesn't mean that you always have to be at the front, that you always have to be bigger and louder and blah, leading the charge. In fact, being vulnerable, being available, asking for help, pulling the right brains into the problem, like that's actually genius, Jade.
Yes, and admitting that you're not good at something. That's my favorite leadership tip.
Top tip.
I am so creative, Lindsay. I am very creative. I'm very intuitive.
Yeah.
Brilliant marketer, brilliant at coaching coaches how to market themselves. Absolutely. But how to edit a podcast or how to, be a bookkeeper or create tech systems, absolutely not. And, that's like the best part about being a supportive leader for me is saying, hey, these 3 things I am crap at. I know I need them, but I'm not the best. Yeah. And now I have team members who are really great at one. One of my team members works with you, Lindsay, on your podcast, helping to edit this, right? Yeah. She's brilliant at what she does. Yeah. She's fast. She gets it. It's easy for her. I've now delegated all the video editing within my company to her.
Yeah.
Because we can share in our skill sets, right?
Yeah.
Now I coach coaches on marketing and I allow her to edit their video content. And that takes all the pressure off me to be perfect, takes all the chances of burnout away. So there you go. Admit that you are just really shitty at something.
Embrace it. Embrace it. And then really, I love it. Find the right person to do it and just really acknowledge and support the crap out of them as they work their magic.
Yes.
I think that's brilliant. I love it. And yes, Jamie does a fabulous job. She is the one who's going to be listening to and editing this episode. Yay, Jamie, we love you. What about, I mean, you've sort of talked about it a little bit already, but where have you messed it up along the way, Jade?
I think, the biggest thing for me was just scaling really quickly and not admitting that I couldn't do it all or do and be all the things. I would say was my biggest mistake there. And since then, like you said, it's crap, I had to go through it, but I'm grateful for it because I've really learned. And now I have really solid people and solid growth, sustainable program. I don't fear burnout. I'm still hitting 10K months without any of that fear or struggle or stress.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for those lessons.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, growth is great. Growth is great. And that's what we want in our business. And so many of us, we sell our product or our service because we're really passionate about it. And so sometimes that passion I think it gets the better of us, and we want to grow quickly. We want to help more people. We want to make more money. I mean, let's be clear about that. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want to have 10K months. I want to have a 6-figure business. I want to make a great living. You got kids to support. So do I. That's important, right? But when we get caught in this trap of this rapid growth, it can just take over your life, I think.
Yeah, it's really, really easy so it takes time and effort and energy and all those things. So to me, growth is important, but you got to add the word sustainable in front of it.
Yeah, I think that's
so sustainable growth is where it's at. Yeah. Right. So creating services that are going to give you long-term success, right? Looking at not trading time for dollars, looking at delegating the things you're not good at, right? All those things. That's where the real CEO success is. Whether you're making just a couple $100 a month or you are in those 7 figures, anywhere, it doesn't matter. That's what it needs. It needs to be sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're right. I mean, that's the shift from being an entrepreneur or, a solopreneur. For many of us, we start out by doing it all ourselves into that CEO headspace, which is, how am I managing all of these facets of my business from a more strategic level and having that higher vision? Did I articulate that right?
Yes, it's have you heard of the 80-20 principle?
Yeah.
Right? It's very similar, right? So for those listening, if you don't know about that, it's an excellent book. But 20% of the things that you do actually bring you 80% of the results.
Yeah.
And this has been proven in so many different places and areas, right? So as an entrepreneur, looking at that too, what are the activities that you're doing that are actually growing your business sustainably and in alignment with you?
Yeah.
Spend your time doing more of those things. A big example for me, I help coaches grow their business, and I've really narrowed it down to LinkedIn specifically.
Yeah.
And, if you're spending time, for example, on reels, you're creating these reels, you're doing these dances and things on Instagram, which is what you need to be successful there. You absolutely need reels to do well there. And you're not getting a lot of clients, but you go and you get one client from a few posts on LinkedIn, right? I see a lot of coaches feel this pressure. They have to be everywhere. So they'll go on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook, right? But you could be spending 20% of the time on just LinkedIn and be getting clients.
Yeah.
This is one example, right? I mean, I'm not saying everybody has to hop on the LinkedIn train, although I do like it and suggest it sometime. But you know what I mean? That take that 20% and focus. That's what sustainability is.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, your example of LinkedIn versus other social media network pieces, so important. Like, if that's the place, then focus there and be okay without being everywhere. I would also say that, from working inside of your business too, like the same principle applies. What's the 20% space where you have the most impact? You talked about it. What's the work that you, as the business owner, as the CEO, what's the work, first of all, that you really like to do? What's the work that you're really good at? What's the work that's the highest impact in your business? And then, yeah, how can you delegate the remainder of the work to others and then let it go? Like, stop touching it. Because that's the other problem we sometimes have, Jade, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We
There's
treat,
actually a hilarious story. I went to an in-person networking event. And one of the ladies there, she charges $500 an hour. She's a business coach.
yeah,
Okay. And she spent 10 hours making this beautiful book to go with the event so that every attendee had this excellent book. And so I don't know the math. I'm not good at math, but that's several $1,000s. That book was technically worth that much money, right? So she could have paid somebody, $50, $100, something, to even a few hundred to make that book.
yeah,
And then be spending her time on $500 per hour
yeah.
classes, right? So just using her skill sets, right? And what is she good at? And building booklets in Canva is not where she's good at. So yeah, find what you're good at, what you enjoy, and that's where you grow in.
Yeah, that's really the sweet spot. That's where you can be most impactful, and also then leverage your time differently, because each and every one of us, although we are passionate about our businesses, we got other things to do. Some of us, we got partners, we got kids, we got pets, we got friends. Maybe we're an auntie, we're a BFF. Like, we got other things that give us joy in our lives. And it's when we commit all of our time and effort to our business, we have nothing left over for what matters most. That's when we get into a space of real burnout. Right?
Agreed.
Yeah. Jade, it's been a real pleasure having you here today. Thank you so much for what is this has been a really robust discussion, and I really appreciate you offering your story so vulnerably, really all around how you built this incredible business, burnt yourself out, and now you're doing it differently. And I really appreciate that as a takeaway from today's conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and hearing my story. I think the more women that can step up and be vulnerable about these journeys, I think the better other women will do.
Yes.
And that's what the world needs. So
100%.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's such a pleasure. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. I sure hope you enjoyed listening as much as I did hosting this conversation. And if you did enjoy today's episode, would you do me a favor? Would you give the episode a 5-star review and share it with all of your friends? I would really appreciate that. I've got a goal to impact 1,000 female founders, and with your help, we can really amplify this message. Thanks again for being a part of the show, and don't forget to connect with me and all of my guests on Instagram at High Volt Leadership. We'll see you next Friday.